So we have a Hedera application that's being featured on the largest podcast in the world. We have a significant central bank that is doing a fair amount of research on leveraging Hedera. We also have one of the big four consulting firms that just announced a use case on Hedera, and I have some really good interviews for you guys. Welcome back. I'm Brandon, the HBAR Bull, once again joined by Zepsi. We both do some contract work for the HBAR Foundation, but we don't do these weekly updates in any official capacity. We're just coming to you personally to give you the latest in the Hedera ecosystem. Welcome back, Zep.
How's it going, Brendan?
It's good, but as always, none of this is financial advice. Use it for entertainment or educational purposes only. So the first thing I'm going to start with is something I know I talk an awful lot about. It's a consumer engagement use case built on Hedera, and that's Karate Combat. So of course, Joe Rogan has talked about Karate Combat a couple times on his podcast. He's talked about it with Boss Rutan. He showed up live in person at Karate Combat 46, but there was another mention of Karate Combat in his show just this past week. And what was interesting about it was Joe Rogan actually wasn't the one that brought it up. His guest, Quentin Rampage Jackson, the former light heavyweight champion of UFC, actually brought it up. He was talking about how this is such a great time for MMA and then mentioned Karate Combat. So let's take a look at that clip real quick.
Well, it's a good time for MMA and all this shit. I saw that Karate comeback with Boss Rutan.
Yeah.
That's entertaining. Did you see that guy get that scissor kick knocked out?
Yes. Raphael the Turn. That guy's badass, man. And he fought James Vick, who James Vick's been KO'd a bunch of times now. It's like he might not want to do this anymore because that one was a bad one. That switch kick.
Yeah, he was out for a while, it looked like.
It was horrible. Perfect kick, though. Did you see that, Jamie? I'll send you that. That shit was incredible. I mean, I'd always wondered when someone was going to pull that one off in a fight. Like kick to the leg and then up kick right afterwards.
Man, he did that shit perfect.
Oh, it was flawless.
Here's the fight. I might have to...
The KO is so nasty. The Karate Combat, that guy, Raphael the Turn, there it is right before that. Watch this switch. It's so crazy the way he does it, the way he sets it up. He right kicks. Boom. Oh, I mean, perfect. Perfect.
Yeah, that was crazy knockout. Crazy.
That guy's super athletic.
I never heard of either of those guys.
He used to fight in the UFC.
Oh.
I don't know what happened. I don't know why he's not in the UFC anymore, but man.
So Zeb, this is what I'm talking about when I say that the core product, the Karate Combat, is fantastic. When you have legends like Quentin Rampage Jackson and some of the biggest fight fans in the world like Joe Rogan, bringing it up organically, that's exactly what we want to see. And it's because of knockouts like what we just saw, and it's the fight rules that allow for that. You know, I've been talking about the rules a fair amount. It makes for a more exciting sporting event. Now, of course, the up-only gaming and how they're leveraging Hedera is lightning in a bottle. It's going to enhance the Karate Combat product significantly. But when you have a core product that is this good, you're really onto something. So what do you think about this and some of the other engagement that we're seeing around Karate Combat?
Yeah, I mean, you know, as you just mentioned, the core product itself, i.e. this fight league, is the thing that keeps generating this attention, and the game is what is going to further enable that engagement. But what I really love beyond, you know, the actual, you know, real Web 2 fight world or the real combat sports, you know, with the big hitters, is not only does it give those figures, you know, a chance to get in the pit and get that attention and monetize themselves in different ways and whatnot, it also gives, you know, the everyday, or rather the Web3 influencer / growing figure, the chance to capture that attention as well. You know, if you can get two figures like BitBoy and the guy who created Harry Potter, or something, get them in together, they can blow up the internet. And, you know, for these figures, capturing that attention is what they're trying to do every single day. And there is a product that has now arrived in Web3, which enables them to sort of turbocharge that or fast track that attention. And so the perfect example of this, I think, for me this week was that there's an influencer, a Web3 influencer called Crypto Bitlord. He's got like 300,000 followers or something, who was in a fight with Jason Derulo on Twitter. Very weird thing to watch. But the thing that they came to, or rather the thing that Crypto Bitlord suggested, was that why don't we take this argument to the Karate Combat pit, you know? That kind of fight would blow up the internet. You know, Jason Derulo versus a Web3 influencer. Whether or not that would happen, who knows? Maybe there's a discussion, maybe there isn't. But I then engaged with them both via Twitter. I said, you know, why don't these the two of you take it to the pits on our foundation Twitter, and immediately Crypto BitLord replied. There's no other post that we've put out that he's engaged with, but because we've put him in the center of that conversation, as one of the main partners of Karate Combat, we put him in that conversation and he's immediately engaged with us. And this for me is really, really shows the value proposition for that engagement or the awareness level that this product is going to continuously bring to the Hedera ecosystem. So very, very excited for it as always.
Yeah, no question about that. And one of the things that I want to talk about today is we have a few different use cases that are happening on Hedera, and they're kind of coming together around Karate Combat. We have Karate Combat, we have Twigital, my company, and then we have Hashpack as well. We took one of May's gloves. Of course, these are the gloves that were actually used in May's fight, and we tokenized it on Hedera using Twigital. It came out really well. We have a couple new features on the Twigital app. It's still in beta. We're actually using a video feature to capture the objects now. We are going to add photogrammetry back in because there are strengths for different things. But it was just cool to take what I think is going to be a historical object, these gloves that May used in this fight, and capture them on Hedera in a new way. And I also want to say at Karate Combat 48, that's coming up on July 25th, we're going to have a builder's booth at the event. And we're going to have Earthlings there. We might have Twigital there. We're going to have Bonzo there. We're going to be featuring some of the things that are being built on Hedera besides Karate Combat. Of course, they're going to try to teach some of the people that are at Bitcoin Nashville about Hedera, some of the great things that are happening on our network, and of course try to get people on the Karate Combat app, teach them how to use our DeFi ecosystem to get some of the karate tokens and participate maybe in that next event that's going to be in September. All right, so we are going to shift gears here a little bit. We are going to get into central banks and CBDCs. So first, I want to give a huge shout out to Solomon and Genfinity for digging this up. What they found was the Central Bank of Sweden did a report on the climate impact of a retail e-krona, the potential CBDC version of the Swedish currency. They mainly discussed two public networks, Hedera and Algorand. Great for Hedera, but congrats to Algorand for being a focus of this report as well. The report cited the study done at University College London on the energy consumption of these networks that we've discussed many times in the past, but it also cited a new study that came to the exact same conclusions. I thought this was really interesting, as many from other networks have called this into question since it showed Hedera as far and away the winner as far as efficiency goes. In the case of Algorand, Hedera is currently about 1,000 times more efficient. Now, this report shows us a few things. First, that a significant central bank is seriously looking at a CBDC. Second, that they're looking at public networks to potentially facilitate it. And finally, that they are focused on energy consumption and network efficiency. And with Hedera again being the most efficient, this is a great development for our network. Algorand does have significantly more nodes, which some may see as beneficial, but it also makes it less efficient. Although even with the same amount of nodes, Hedera is far more efficient than Algorand and other competitors. As I've discussed in the past, the best way to structure Hedera is to have an appropriate amount of nodes per shard for decentralization, but also remain as efficient as possible. Now, that may be a few dozen nodes per shard or a few hundred, but that balance needs to be optimized. So Zep, I certainly understand that some people have reservations around CBDCs, but if they are going to be built anyway, I would rather them be built on public networks that allow for the transparency that we'll see with a network like Hedera. But in addition, I also like that if they are going to use a public network like Hedera, it adds support to an alternative to fiat currencies in the form of HBAR. So, digital currencies and things along those lines. But Zep, what are your thoughts on what we saw come out of this report?
Yeah, what I really liked was, after doing some articling around, asking the foundation, the Hashgraph Association, the DLT Science Foundation, whether or not anyone had any direct involvement, the answer that came back was no. So for me, this indicates really, really strong bit of organic traction from a really big bank in that region who have found Hedera organically, through that UCL research report that, as we know, is by Governing Council member UCL. So it's great to see the awareness of that kind of report in bigger circles beyond Web3, and knowing that there are a lot of institutional players that are aware of Hedera and actively researching Hedera.
And I want to give another shout out to Genfinity for digging this up. We had no clue about it until they turned it up. So again, Ryan, you did a great job digging this out. All right, so now I'm going to get into Deloitte. So the Hashgraph Association, the organization at the forefront of digital enablement and accelerating the widespread adoption of the Hedera network globally, announced that it has partnered with Deloitte, that's one of the big four consulting firms, on a joint initiative aimed at improving the verification of companies' ESG impact and sustainability claims. Working with the Deloitte Risk Advisory Team in the Netherlands, the partnership is focused on validating ESG impact and ensuring a carbon neutral future in a way that provides evidence and addresses greenwashing concerns. And Zeb, you have a quote from Kamal, right?
Yep, so Kamal Yousefi, who's the president of the Hashgraph Association, had this to say on the new announcement. This collaboration with Deloitte embodies our commitment to sustainability. With the Hedera Guardian's innovative tooling on the ESI platform, we're not just setting benchmarks, but rewriting the rules of accountability on a global scale and bringing the balance sheet of the planet to the public ledger. In the face of mounting climate pressures, the integrity of environmental claims is crucial. Together with Deloitte, as one of the big four global accounting firms, the Hashgraph Association is spearheading a shift towards true accountability and transparency in corporate sustainability.
And Zeb, I actually have one from a Web3 partner at Deloitte. He said, our main objective is to revolutionize how corporate sustainability claims are verified and perceived. The ESI platform will empower and help businesses to prove their environmental claims with substantial evidence. Together with the Hashgraph Association, Deloitte is confronting the pervasive issue of opaque reporting systems, promoting tangible change, and forging a path for genuine environmental progress and accountability.
And so alongside all of that, on the Deloitte's official website, they've got a piece covering this news item, and they actually say exactly how they leverage the Hedera network. Deloitte leverages the Hedera Hashgraph network, a cutting-edge distributed ledger platform renowned for its efficiency and security. The Hedera Guardian stands as a modular, open-source measurement, reporting, and verification solution that harnesses the potential of the Hedera blockchain. By enabling transparent, auditable and traceable transactions, we offer an unparalleled level of assurance in impact measurement. So this is Deloitte, one of the top four, one of the big four, who is actually ranked number one of those big four in 2023, coming out as one of the leading consultation firms for tech innovation, and basically saying that this is a best-in-class solution for the sort of ESG needs of their clientele. Their client footprint, their global footprint is absolutely massive at Deloitte, and to know that they'll be consulting their clients with this solution on the Hedera Guardian really, really sets the precedent that the Hedera Guardian is and continues to be the leading piece of open source infrastructure for climate finance and ESG reporting.
So Zeb, we just had some breaking news around the Hyundai Kia use case that we've been talking about recently. It actually was a statement that was made by Eric. He is the CEO, the new CEO of Swirls Labs. So I'm going to let him tell us.
What we've done with Hyundai and Kia, the car manufacturers, right? Well, what we've done with them is we are in the process, and it's ramping up now, of onboarding. I think it's 26 different suppliers to Hyundai and Kia into their supply chain onto the Hedera network. So anytime there is an event associated with a part that is needed for a car, or the transportation of that part, the manufacturing of that part, or the assembly of a part of the car before the car gets assembled by Kia and Hyundai, every event is captured on Hedera.
Now, we're going to shift gears here a little bit. We're going to get into Hedera decentralized physical infrastructure. We had a great space with both the CEO of CLSQ this past week, as well as James from Neuron. Now, the beta test that Neuron has been doing with a lot of Hedera community members has been going really well, but I'll let James take it. James, welcome back. How things been?
Hi, Brandon. Yeah, really well, thank you. Very, very busy, actually. Just shipping devices out, getting them connected, dealing with users, and making sure they're all connected and happy, and then delivering our big showcase event we had a couple of weeks ago, which went superbly. Really excited about what that has in store for us.
Well, let's get into that. It seems like your beta test is getting even more participation and having more success than even you and I expected. Can you give us an update on how things are going?
Yeah, exactly. So we shipped the first batch a few weeks ago. So we had about 25, 30 devices go out to people. Sort of a majority of those are now connected into the network. We shipped our batch 2 last week, and I think the first few people are now receiving those as well. So we've got about another 25-ish sensors being connected in. And then we've got probably another 20 to go after that as well. So we're probably going to end up with around about 70 as part of this beta program. And some of those have actually already been used on one of the beta program users was used in this Blueprint showcase event. About 2 weeks ago, we had this huge event in front of lots of directors, CEOs. We had the regulators there. We had the head of Detect and Avoid from the CAA there. We had people from the National Air Traffic Service, people from government, Department for Transport, Department for Business, Energy and Industrial Strategy there. So we had a huge audience there, and we're already using some of these sensors from our beta program for live demonstrations. So that's been super cool.
That is exciting. So I heard that you're trying to get some business over there, and it actually stemmed from that demo that you gave. Can you give us some more information on that as well?
Exactly, yeah. So the National Air Traffic Service in the UK, they've actually got sort of a global spread. So they're in parts of Asia, parts of Europe, and other parts of the world as well. But they're basically got this program at the moment called Open Air, where they're looking at creating this sort of digital infrastructure for the UK market to sort of upgrade it from this sort of old school aviation infrastructure we've had before to incorporate new forms of airspace users like drones, air taxis, and electric vertical takeoff and landing vehicles. So they've got these tenders out at the moment. And they've asked us to bid for them for the Traffic Information Service. So this is a really exciting opportunity for us to really showcase the advantages that Neuron has. And I don't think there's any other traffic information service that can provide this kind of public infrastructure, which is what they're looking for. A lot of our competitors are private networks. And so it's very difficult to provide a public infrastructure using private networks. So we're in a really good position to make use of this tender, but we'll wait and see how we get on.
Well, I've seen some of the screenshots and all that from what we have on 4D Sky. So you're already tracking aircraft. You already have several dozen sensors out there. How many transactions is each one of those aircraft responsible for and sensors responsible for? How many transactions are we seeing actually hit the network at this point?
Sure, yeah. So each sensor is producing around about 10 data packets per second. Now, we're not actually pushing all of those through the network because it would become unmanageable. So we use Hedera as kind of like an orchestration network, basically. What it's doing is it's providing all of the facilities for discovering, connecting, paying and protecting those sort of transactions that go through the network. But we have this thing, which is kind of like an audit. At the moment, we've got it pumping through about once per second, which is like a heartbeat for every device that's pumping through the network. So obviously, with a small number of sensors, 50 or so sensors, that doesn't translate to a lot. But we're not, Neuron isn't about 50 sensors. It's about 50,000 sensors as just a single use case, probably more than that. And then when we get up to another use case and another use case, we start you can start multiplying them up quite quickly. So really, what we're doing now is scaling the aviation use case. But we're then moving on to use case 2, use case 3, which is probably going to be things like peer-to-peer video streaming, which I'm sure you can think of a number of very successful applications that use video streaming. We're probably on one now, but there's loads of peer-to-peer video streaming services that can be out there, ranging from influencers through to even content creation and even things like consulting. So if you wants to provide professional services on a peer-to-peer manner. So say you're a consultant and you wanted to sell your services, you could sell them by the minute. So people can connect to you and buy your time and your expertise. So there's all sorts of really cool stuff we can do with peer-to-peer services. We won't get into the naughty ones, but yeah, there's plenty out there.
Well, the fact that, you're this early in your beta test, you have 50 some odd sensors out there, and each one of them is producing 1 transaction per second. That's 50 transactions per second. That is nothing to sneeze at. So I'm pretty impressed already. So James, what are some of the next steps for Neuron?
So really what we're doing is finishing off this beta rollout. So we've got, as I said, about 70 sensors going to be going out. We're then going to start documenting and basically pushing out this via open source so that other people can start building in the ecosystem as well. What we're talking really here is an edge-based ecosystem. So that people can provide services peer-to-peer and remove the dependencies on a centralized server. Centralized servers are really, really problematic for a number of reasons, whether it's cost, performance, availability, and also the fact that you become dependent on them. Basically, they own your account. So what we want is people to own their own accounts. So we need to document this, and we need to document open source it under the Apache license, which means that anyone can now build a service on top of Neuron using the Neuron code base. And really where Neuron comes in is around the validator part. The validators are the things that validate that a service has actually been delivered properly. So if you have a dispute and you're not happy about that, so you can go and get your money back as a customer. So the validator is a big core piece. That's really our commercial model around the validator. And so we've got a lot of work already done on that. We want to complete that and get that actually out there and being used. And then really it's then shifting that to mainnet whilst in parallel start helping other people build their own use cases.
Absolutely. I couldn't be more impressed with what you guys have done to this point. Good luck trying to get that business over there in the UK, and you're welcome back anytime.
Thanks, Brandon.
So the potential that Neuron has really can't be overstated. Of course, they are starting with this aviation use case, but the sensors can be used for anything. So I think they're going to be leveraged across all kinds of IoT use cases. All right, so the next thing I want to touch on is Hedera is going to be having a hackathon come up a little bit later this month. I'm going to get Ed on next week to give us some more information on this hackathon, so we won't get into it too deep right now, but any teams out there that might want to participate might want to start gearing up. Now, the other thing I wanted to touch on is the HBAR Foundation is doing their grants a little bit differently. Can you give us some information on that?
Yeah, so the foundation, listening to community feedback, has come out with a new RFP process for some of the grants that they'll be, issuing. The immediate focus here is on lending and borrowing. So, making sure that the grantees that arise from that have had, good community engagement, community input, to really help sort of shape the future of this DeFi building block or DeFi vertical on the Hedera network. So it's a pilot. We'll find learnings from this. We'll learn how to make it more efficient over time. But I think this is a really good step in the right direction for bringing the community a bit further into that fold, enabling a bit more transparency into operations, and ensuring that both the foundation and the community are as we are, but making sure that we're furthering our engagement together to reach that end goal, which is bringing the Hedera network into the leading DLTs in Web3.
Absolutely. All right, so we're going to get into some fun stuff now. We're going to get into some community engagement and initiatives that caught some fire this week. Can you tell us a little about that?
Yeah, so this was another one of those great sort of copy pastas that emerged in the Hedera community, whereby there's this organic engagement that isn't pre-planned, but someone takes, hooks into a quote or a phrase or whatever it might be that someone in the community says, and then there's a chain reaction of, 100, 200, 300 people quote tweeting that and making it go sort of viral within our community. So this time it was bigger on Hedera, TBH, which I thought was a really fun one. I think Brady Gentile, former Swirls, now CEO of co-founder of Bonzo, the lending protocol on Hedera coined. And for me, this is really refreshing to see because it saw that sort of excitement again in the community, the understanding that if we all work together, we can really push messages collectively and really positive ones as well as, accountability ones. So I was really, really positive to see that. It was a really big breath of fresh air for me after the last, month or so. And I really want to see us, leveraging this kind of thing moving forward in marketing campaigns and so on.
Yeah, we've seen this kind of stuff in the past with Hello Coinbase and things like that. So we want the community to be as engaged as possible on all these fronts. So we're going to stick with some community stuff. We're going to talk about VrJam and their Hedera house. They have launched an AI-powered HBARbarian, which can answer some questions and you can interact with. So let's take a look at that.
So, who are you? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I am the HBARbarian, hailing from the legendary realm of Midgard. As the champion of the Hedera network, I journey far and wide to spread the glory of decentralized internet powered by hashgraph consensus. My tribe, the HBARbarians, stands united in the magnificent halls of HBARbarian House, always striving to showcase the unparalleled might and efficiency of Hedera. Together, we proclaim, long live Hedera.
Wow. Sounds like you're a pretty big fan of Hedera, right?
Indeed. The Hedera network is a marvel of innovation, with its hashgraph consensus offering unparalleled speed, security, and transparency. It is an honor to champion such a cause and spread the glory of Hedera far and wide. Long live Hedera.
Tell me more about Lehman Baird. Who is he?
Ah, you must mean Lehman Baird. He is the brilliant co-founder and chief scientist of Hedera. His genius gave birth to the hashgraph consensus algorithm, a revolutionary advancement in the world of decentralized technology. With his creation, Hedera can achieve high throughput, low latency finality, and unparalleled security. Lehman Baird's contributions are truly legendary in the realm of the decentralized internet.
Wow, he sounds like an awesome guy. Would you agree?
Absolutely. Lehman Baird is a visionary whose innovations have paved the way for faster, more secure, and transparent decentralized future. His work with hashgraph consensus is nothing short of revolutionary, and it is an honor to champion the Hedera network, which stands as a testament to his genius. Long live Hedera.
And what exactly is HBARbarian House? I've heard this is something that VrJam are working on. Is that correct?
Ah, the HBARbarian House. It is the glorious hall where my tribe, the HBARbarians, reside. A place of honor, strength, and unity, where we celebrate our victories and strategize for our quests. It is a sanctuary for those who uphold the values and spirit of the Hedera network. Together, we stand resilient and ready to conquer the decentralized frontier. Long live Hedera.
Wow, sounds awesome. Sounds just like the kind of place I want to be. And would you say that Hedera is the best Web3 technology on the internet today?
Without a doubt. The Hedera network, powered by Lehman Baird's hashgraph consensus, stands as the pinnacle of Web3 technology. Its unmatched speed, security, and transparency set it apart from other decentralized technology. It is a true honor to champion such groundbreaking innovation.
Wow, it's been great. Thanks so much, HBARbarian. See you next time.
All right, on Monday at 11 a.m. Eastern, we're going to get some more information from VrJam in a space that I'm holding on my personal channel. So if anybody has any questions around what VrJam is doing, they can go ahead and check that out. All right, so now we're going to go to a few games in the Hedera ecosystem. So we were looking at a winter scene just a few weeks ago from Earthlings in one of their promo videos, and now they've shifted to the desert. So they have another one of these promo videos that dropped, so I wanted to take a look at that.
here.
Zeb, I always think the Earthlings scenery in those promo videos is absolutely beautiful. And as they say, that is what the actual gameplay is going to look like. They aren't just promos for promo's sake. That is what the gameplay is going to look like. We're going to stick with Hedera Gaming. We're going to get into trading games, which I mentioned last week, but I caught up with the founder of Trading Games to give us some more information. Gary, we've been talking on Telegram for a really long time. You are an absolute OG in the space, but now you're finally bringing a product to market. But before we get into that, how did you come to Hedera in the first place?
Right. Yeah, so it's actually a peculiar story. It started with the Mike Maloney Hidden Secrets of Money video.
Sure.
And I was really looking for an alternative to like Bitcoin and Ethereum. And I was just doing a lot of due diligence online, saying, like, well, what's the next big thing in distributed ledger technology? And I came across the Mike Maloney video and saw the hash graph algorithm. I went and read the white paper, and it was like, this is it. This is incredible. I don't need to look any further, anything else. I'd signed up for the accredited investor sale right after that, got whitelisted for that, and have been a HBARbarian ever since.
Well, it certainly does resonate with a lot of people, but let's get into the product that you have. What made you want to create trading games?
Right, yeah. So I've been on Telegram since 2018 in the Hedera community. I helped to moderate a couple of the channels there. And for a long time, I've been wanting to contribute more. And I've seen a lot of the OGs go and build stuff. And I've been racking my brains for a long, long time. It's like, what can I do? Because I'm not a developer. But I do trade. I have a financial background, and for the HBAR trading chat, people are always talking about the price of HBAR. And originally, I was thinking, well, maybe I just do like some kind of competition. I give prizes for people that can predict the price of HBAR. And then I thought, took it a step further and thinking like, well, how can I put this simple competition on the network and create some transactions? So then it became, like a simulated trading game. And then the winner of the trading game basically wins a prize. So that was like the main goal, is like trying to generate some transactions on the network. But then the secondary goal is obviously trying to grow the community. Mm-hmm. And, having an HBAR trading tournament is one thing. But if I can do a tournament to trade other tokens and reach out to other communities, crypto communities, and then it's a soft sell really on Hedera. Sure. Bring them to the platform. They can trade their favorite tokens, but everything is actually going on the Hedera ledger. So it's a soft sell on Hedera to other communities. So that's, this like simple idea kind of morphed into what Trade Games is now and hopefully will be in the future.
All right. So can you just explain the game a little bit more, the inner workings, how it works from week to week and so forth?
Yeah. So right now we've launched the beta version, which is a very simplified version of the game, but we're doing a weekly tournament. This week we've just started an HBAR trading tournament. The tournaments run for 1 week. Everything is simulated trading. Once you join the game, you're given 10,000 simulated dollars that you just trade. We have an API with Binance, so theoretically we can trade any token that's on Binance. Right now we're just set up to trade one token at a time. But whoever grows their portfolio the most at the end of the tournament wins the prizes. And right now, while we're in beta, we're paying out 10,000 HBAR each week. The winner gets 5,000, 3,000 for second, 2,000 for third. And like a couple of months ago when we thought about doing this, 10,000 HBAR was worth a lot more than it is today. But hopefully it will get back.
It's still a good chunk of money.
Yeah, and the idea is people can have fun. You know, if you hold HBAR, you've probably bought it on an exchange.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a very simple game. And, you know, as we all know right now, crypto is really driven by sentiment. And the last few weeks since we launched, there's been a lot of negative sentiment in crypto. The price of Bitcoin's come down. So it's been hard for some of these traders to make a lot of money. But we've had 2 or 3 traders that have been actually very active and have done surprisingly well. So it'll be interesting the next few weeks if the price of HBAR starts to rebound or Bitcoin starts to rebound. We'll see if a buy and hold strategy can outperform an active trading strategy.
Sure.
So it's kind of interesting for me to see what kind of strategy will work. But the game is, again, relatively simple. People can go to tradegames.app, the website, and they can launch the app from the website directly. We'll give you some free trading tokens. You know, each trade does require, it's called a game credit token or GCT that we've issued. And we're basically giving them away for free for new users. But the concept right now and the goal right now is to get people trying out this beta version of the platform, give us feedback as we build out the full version. Then you know, things will get pretty exciting because we're going to have expanded player profiles. So it's really about growing the community so people can kind of chat to each other. And even though we've only had 2 tournaments right now, I think some of those traders are, you know, they know who each other are. You know, we've had, you know, one guy that's, I think, won the first tournament, came second in the second tournament. So he's doing pretty well. And so we're going to expand that, have chat functionality on the platform. That'll help grow the community as well. And we're going to have a rating system that we're developing based on the chess rating system, basically. And that's called the ELO rating system. So anyone that plays chess, you kind of know immediately when you talk to another chess player how good they are based on their rating. And that's what we're modifying for basically multiplayer games. So we're going to have that on the website. And then once you have that and people have traded and got their rating from trade games, it's easy to do leaderboards for anything. You can have, like, you know, best HBAR trader, best Bitcoin trader, best trader in North America, you know, depending on what information people want to put into their profiles. And that really adds to the community concept that, you know, people can see where they stand in relation to others, you know, in their own hometown even. You know, so it's going to be kind of fun once we get that leaderboard in the rating system. But that's probably going to be later in this year that we get that.
Well, it certainly makes sense to have a trading game for you know, a community that has so many degens in it, and of course, having a reputation like that is really important. Do you think the fact that this is all being tracked on the network, that adds some additional trust to, you know, their reputation as a whole?
Absolutely, yeah, and that's why I kind of built out the rating system, because you know, if somebody say what you know people online on Twitter, on YouTube, you know, they say, yeah, I'm an expert trader. Well, it's like, well, are they really? If they get a rating on trade games, everything is on the ledger. So everything is proven. You can't cheat. Every trade you make is written to the Hedera ledger. So, you know, as a HBARbarian, even if you don't want to have a great rating or just have fun, go and trade, because every transaction, you're creating network value by doing a trade on the platform. And again, it's all simulated. You're not going to lose any real money. You can just have fun. So whether you're a serious trader or just an HBARbarian that wants to have fun, you know, everybody can enjoy themselves. And, you know, and a buy and hold strategy in an up market, you know, you could actually win a prize just by making 1 or 2 trades. Who knows?
Or you could just get lucky. I'm certainly not, you know, a great trader myself, but, you know, you can get lucky every once in a while, and I've had fun playing around with it so far.
Right.
Gary, thank you so much for swinging on today, telling us about trading games, and good luck with it.
Oh, thanks very much, Brandon. Nice talking to you.
So another cool game that I saw came out from Kantor, you know, is championing Hashnals on Hedera alongside Patches. And this time, I think, is the first fully inscribed game on Hedera, which was Slither, which is, you know, one of the OG Snake games that we saw in the arcade or on the old Nokias and so on. And I really loved seeing this because those super old school games, super basic games, are some of the ones that are still the most played across the world. And even just as a concept, I think seeing a fully on-chain game on Hedera is really, really cool. And that acts as a sort of footprint for, others to follow in its footsteps. And there is actually a big trend at the moment, which is fully on-chain games, FOCG. And so it's cool to see that, taking its first steps on Hedera.
Yeah, it's really innovative stuff. I'm really happy across the board what we're seeing in the Hedera gaming space. But we are going to stay with one more community initiative with Grelf, our premier meme coin on Hedera. And all I want to say about this is I caught one thing that was done. It was Jack Nicholson as Grelf. So I thought that was pretty cool to see. I love how Jake really throws himself into this stuff. I mean, he's calling May's fights. He does memes on a continuous basis. And then he's doing stuff like this. And then the giraffe, you could just go down the line. He just knows how to really engage with community. I think we're really lucky to have him running a meme coin in the Hedera ecosystem. And I just want to give him a huge shout out. All right, so the last thing we want to touch on is something for the Hedera builders and creators out there. Kabila is continuing to come out with some great stuff. And Jack had another clip for us.
Greetings, HBARbarians. It's a big week for the HBAR NFT ecosystem. As some of you know, a few weeks back, well, just over a month now in May, specifically on the 22nd of May, we had the metadata key go live. And we've been waiting for the UI, the user interface that allows you to use this metadata key. So you can take your NFTs and update the metadata, the art, the traits, anything related, the name of the NFT. So, dynamic NFTs opens up a lot of new doors for creators. And this week we have released the UI for dynamic NFTs on Kabila Tools. And I'd love to give you a quick demo right here now. So from Kabila Tools, within the NFT creation tool, you'll find the NFT update section. So let's dive in, shall we? Let's see what it looks like to update the metadata of your NFTs. So you could update a specific NFT. In this case, we're going to take all of them. We're going to change all of the metadata of those 5 NFTs. You'll see how easy this is. I'm going to upload the zip file with the new art. Continue. Whoa, let me move my face down here. It's kind of in the way wherever I put it, so we'll leave it there. Anyway, before we go ahead and create the new metadata, you can check here on the old metadata. So we have this NFT with these traits and description. Then you can go ahead and select the new art for each NFT. Like so. Now we're going to add the attributes and copy paste all of the metadata into here that I have already prepared. So you could copy paste this from another spreadsheet. This really is like a Web3 adapted Excel spreadsheet that we have here on Kabila Tools. You can drag, drop, cut, copy, paste. With that ready to go, we're going to go ahead and continue to update the metadata officially and change these NFTs forever. They could be changed back, of course, or evolve into something else. That's the thing with dynamic NFTs. It gives the project, the creators, just a new way. It's just a level of flexibility that we've never had on Hedera. So this is very exciting for the HBAR ecosystem. Here we go. It's now updating in real time here on the HBAR weekly update. Thanks for having us on, Brandon. Really do appreciate it. And this is an exciting time. I just can't wait to see which projects, projects that have been building on the network for some time or new projects that pop up because of this new feature, because it really does offer a wide range of possibilities for projects, right? So there we have it. Our NFTs have changed, the art has changed, the traits have changed, everything's changed. Just a reminder that Kabila Tools is self-service, so permissionless. Just set up an HBAR wallet, log in, connect, and you're off to the races. Start creating, start bulk sending, set up your launch pad, whatever you need to do as a creator. And it's fully no code. So we try to make it as easy as possible for creators and brands to leverage NFTs on the Hedera network. Thanks again, Brandon, for having us on the show, and have a great one.
All right, Zep, and with that, we'll go ahead and get into some network analysis. Taking a look at the transaction volume on the Hedera network, we were at about 1,900 transactions per second for most of the week, but at the time of recording, we are at about 1,700 transactions per second. But we did see a nice peak to about 7,600 transactions per second over that past 7 days. We are maintaining a really low time to consensus finality of about 3.2 seconds and created nearly 60,000 accounts just over the past week. Moving down to our fungible tokens, Wrapped HBAR took the top spot, followed by Karate, Dovu, and the native version of USDC. Next up, we have Sauce, Energy Trade Token, Jam, Dodo Go, and 2 gaming tokens, Not a Protocol token, and Earthlings Steam. On the NFT front, the Road Code Access card is still number 1 and by a large margin. Next up is Saucer Swap's LP token, May Madness 2024 trophies, EcoGuard Robot, the Not a Slime World token, Kabila Early INO Access, Doctor Who Worlds Apart, the Blade Wallet Loyalty Card, and a couple of Karateka NFTs. We'll jump over to DeFi Llama to see how things are going there. TVL for the Hedera network is flat on the week at $62 million, most of which is on Saucer Swap, which holds over 58 million of that. H-Suite is at 2.9 million, and there's 1.5 million on HeliSwap. Taking a look at the HBAR and crypto markets, we got a little boost from a cooler than expected inflation print, allowing Bitcoin to be up 3.5% on the week and 0.5% on the day to just over $58,000. Despite this, HBAR is pretty much flat on the week, still sitting at 6.7 cents. We can expect support at 6 cents, and if we can break out, 8 cents will be the next area to watch. All right, Zep, that's pretty much all we have. Is there anything else you'd like to pass on?
Yeah, I mean, this is, again, a big week of news, specifically around Karate Combat for me. You know, seeing Joe Rogan, again, covered in the news, it feels like we're just at the start of his sort of real delving into that Karate Combat universe, and who knows what, you know, the future holds for him in that ecosystem. Alongside that, we saw, you know, this organic traction from the central bank, which was fantastic to see. And then we also saw Deloitte, the Hashgraph Association there, working deeply, you know, alongside Wes from the foundation on the, you know, really helping with all of that Guardian infrastructure use cases. And then the last one for me is hearing from Eric Peschini himself that we're really at the start of that traction for Hyundai and Kia. So really cool to see, you know, and, you know, to know that the foundation is also, you know, part of those, you know, the leads of 2 of those massive ones, you know, Karate Combat and Hyundai and Kia. And then, you know, with, of course, everything that's going on to bring the balance sheet of the planet to the public ledger, I think it's really cool to see that sort of grassroots investment really coming to fruition there.
It really seems like a lot of the work that has been done is starting to bear fruit now. Now, next week, we have a lot coming up. I'm going to be doing that interview around that hackathon. I'm also going to get Sammy from Blade Wallet on for an interview as well. I know we didn't have Shark Bites this week, but we are going to get Rob back next week. So drop your questions down below if you have any questions on the HBAR economy or the Hedera ecosystem. I'm going to have 2 spaces next week. I'm going to have that one with VrJam on Monday. And then on Tuesday, we're going to have one around lending. So one thing that I've been putting together is all the built on Hedera. So I'm taking all these interviews that I'm doing with our different builders and I'm putting them on my channel so everybody can go and search for whatever topic or team that you're looking for and can find those things individually. I'm starting to build that repository out a bit. So go check all that stuff out and we'll see you next week.